Hi there everyone, welcome to my movie review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm going to start off by saying that I've been a big Ghostbusters fan ever since I was a kid. The original movie is one of my all-time favorites. It's a sci-fi comedy classic, and Ghostbusters 2, even though it's not quite as good as the original, it's still a lot of fun. I find it highly rewatchable, and I would even argue that Vigo the Carpathian is actually the more terrifying villain of those two movies. And with that being said, I've always wanted to see a theatrical follow-up of those two movies with the original cast. We did get a follow-up of sorts in 2009 with Ghostbusters the video game, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And then in 2016 we got this movie, which I didn't really hate, but it wasn't the sequel that I was looking for. Well, now we have Ghostbusters Afterlife, a movie that not only follows those first two Ghostbusters movies really well by continuing that story, it's filled with a lot of nostalgic callbacks to the original movie and has a lot of fun surprises. So the plot begins with a family who moves to a small town in the Midwest. They inherit a dilapidated and eerily spooky property from a relative. Little do they know that the town has been experiencing frequent earthquakes where there shouldn't be earthquakes occurring at all. Paul Rudd plays a local school teacher who's investigating the earthquake phenomenon. Events soon lead them to uncovering the legacy of the original Ghostbusters. I have a lot more positive than negative things to say about the movie. That being said, toward the end of my review, I will get into a minor spoiler about one small thing I didn't like about the movie. But rest assured, if you haven't seen the movie yet, I will try and be as vague as possible, but I will also give you a spoiler warning before that happens. Director and co-writer Jason Reitman has made a great Ghostbusters movie that is sure to please fans of the franchise, young and old. We're introduced to Phoebe and her brother Trevor, who in this town make new friends and are really the characters that drive this plot forward. And to my relief, these characters are quite likable. I remember when I first saw the trailer for this movie, and without much context, it shows you a bunch of kids basically joyriding in the Ecto-1, tearing down the street, firing their proton packs. And my first reaction was, oh no, this is going to be a disaster. But it wasn't. This movie tells a story that was quite exciting to watch because we meet new characters who are discovering a world that we're already familiar with. And as I said previously, the movie has a lot of surprises. For example, the Ecto-1 plays a much bigger role in this movie than it has at any other time previously. Let's talk a little bit about the cast. Mckenna, who plays Phoebe, is really the standout of this movie. She's nerdy and socially awkward, but also likable and quite funny. Paul Rudd, who is always likable and funny, really seems perfectly cast in this movie, and he's hilarious, especially towards the end when, let's just say, his character is put in an unfortunate situation. One of the small issues that I had with the movie, though, is that after a fantastic opening sequence, the movie is just slightly slow for about 20 minutes until the action starts to pick up again. But overall, I had a great time with this movie. It was unexpectedly touching and sentimental in parts, and I'm definitely going to rewatch this movie again. I'm going to give Ghostbusters Afterlife an 8 out of 10. So here's your spoiler alert. Now that I've given you my score for the film, I'm just going to go into one of the other small things that I had an issue with. One of the things that I think adds so much mystery and suspense to those first two Ghostbusters movies is the fact that the two main villains, Gozer and Vigo the Carpathian, are played by actors who aren't fairly well known. To this day, I still don't even know those actors' names. In Ghostbusters Afterlife, toward the end of the movie, two villains arrive, and they're portrayed by fairly well-known actors. And the issue that I had was that all of the tension and suspense that had been built up to that moment was completely taken away because I was distracted by recognizing who these actors were. During this scene, my reaction should have been, oh no, this character is back from the dead. But instead it was, oh, it's that actor. I see them on TV and in movies all the time. And that shouldn't have been my reaction. Their performances were fine. I just think it would have served the movie better to have lesser known actors in those roles to sustain the suspense toward the end of the film. But again, that's just a small issue I had with the movie. Overall, it was a ton of fun. I had a great time. definitely check the movie out. It's worth seeing. Thank you so much for watching my review. I'll see you next time.